ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So today we will be reading from Canto 4, entitled The Creation of the Fourth Order. We will be starting a new chapter, which is chapter 16, entitled Praise of King Prithu by the Professional Reciters. So anyone can read the text 1, please.
Hare Krishna, Anusuya Mataji, you can read shloka. Mataji, you want us to read the purport also, Mataji?
No, just the verse and the translation, please.
Translation, okay. Anusuya Mataji, you read the translation, you read the shloka, and Vasudha Mataji, the translation. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी, प्रणाम माताजी। मैत्रेय उवाच इति ब्रुवाणं नृपतिं गायका मुनिचोदितः तुष्टुवस्तुष्टमान मनसस्तद्भागमृतसेवया। थैंक यू माताजी। हरे कृष्ण।
Translation.
Hare Krishna,
Hare,
Vasudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The great sage Maitreya continued, while King Prithu thus spoke, the humility of his nectarian speeches pleased the reciters very much. Then again they continued to praise the king highly with exalted prayers as they had been instructed by the great sages. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Text 2, please.
Hare Krishna, Shilpa Mataji, you read the shloka, and Anita Mataji, the translation. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण, प्रणाम माताजी। नालम्बयं ते महिम् आनुवर्णने यो देव यो देववरयो वतारमायया वेनाङ्गजातस्य च पौरुषाणि ते वाचस्पतीनाम् अपि ब्रह्ममूर्धेयः। सॉरी माताजी, हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you. Translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The reciters continued, Dear King, you are a direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, and by his causeless mercy, you have descended to this earth. Therefore, it is not possible for us to actually glorify your exalted activities. Although you have appeared through the body of King Vena, even great orators and speakers like Lord Brahma and other demigods cannot exactly describe the glorious activities of your Lordship.
Thank you. Text 3.
Hare Krishna, Nanisha Mataji, you read the shloka and Kripamai Mataji the translation. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी दंडवत प्रणाम अथाप्युदार श्रावसा प्रीतोर्हरेः कलावतारस्य कथामृता धृताः यतोपदेशं मुनिभिः प्रचोदिता श्लाघ्यानि कर्माणि वयं वितान्महि हरे कृष्ण माताजी दंडवत प्रणाम
Very good. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, am I audible, Mataji?
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, translation by Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Although we are unable to glorify you adequately, we nonetheless have a transcendental taste for glorifying your activities. We shall try to glorify you according to the instructions received from the authoritative sages and scholars. Whatever we speak, however, is always inadequate and very insignificant. Dear King, because you are a direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all your activities are liberal and ever laudable. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank Hare Krishna.
Hare
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaurakatha Dhamadaya Nagaragramatarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Kam karoti vachalam pangam langahayate kirim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So, these three verses that we read, they are the beginning of this chapter, which is entitled Praise of King Prithu by the professional reciters. Now, something very important to note here that Srila Prabhupada, he is talking about especially the words, quoted by the sages, what the sages are speaking. Srila Prabhupada writes in the first line of the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, Muni cha uditaha, which means the instructions received from the great sages and saintly persons. So it is to be understood that how, when these personalities, these great personalities, when they were, glorifying Prithu Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that how much, with so much of humility, Prithu Maharaj was speaking back to the sages. Humility is a great ornament that is supposed to be the only jewelry that a Vaishnava or a Vaishnavi wears. That's the only ornament that a devotee is supposed to be wearing, which is the ornament and the jewelry of humility. Humility, it is said that there's a very beautiful saying that if you see a tree which is very heavily laden with fruits, then it naturally bends down because of the weight of the fruits. The tree, the branches, they bend down because of the weight of the fruits. So that comparison is given for us to understand that the more we mature in our Krishna consciousness, the more advancement that we make in our Krishna consciousness, it's like we are becoming more and more humble. Now, humble or being, humility or being humble does not mean that we become backboneless. It's not that we become like a doormat that anyone and everyone can just walk by, or walk upon. No. Srila Prabhupada defined humility to be brave for Krishna. There's no other personality in the creation who can be more humble than Srila Prabhupada. But Srila Prabhupada always was very, very brave for Krishna. That is humility. When anyone says, so a very nice saying is that when someone says something to us, we take it very humbly. But if someone is saying something about Krishna, if someone is saying something about any other devotee, any other Vaishnava, or our Guru Vargas, then we don't show our humility. Then we do what Hanumanji did. We can burn that Lanka, So that is the quality of a Vaishnava. Humility does not mean to be backboneless, to be spineless, So we have to be very careful about how we use humility in the service of Krishna. Humble means, yes, we need to be humble. We need to be gentle, Sometimes when devotees come to us, sometimes seeking any kind of guidance or, sometimes telling some issues that they had with other devotees. At that time, we can, if we have that kind of relationship with that devotee, we sometimes even chastise that devotee. No, this is not how you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to do like this. You're not supposed to do like this. This is not how you're supposed to take it. No. Even though we may have such close association or close relationship with a devotee, we must always be in our maryada, in our limitations. We should know what our boundaries are. That even if we are speaking the truth, let the truth be palatable. Satyam vadat, priyam vradat. That even though it may be the real truth, especially when we are dealing amongst family, it is said that we can be humble in front of the entire world, but to show humility to our family is the most challenging. To show humility to our children, to show humility to our spouses becomes the most challenging. But how do we do that? That's our foremost training ground, so to speak, but how to do that is a technique that we need to first follow about the word about tolerance. Tolerance doesn't mean, clenching my teeth, I'm going to tolerate. I put a tape on my mouth, I'm not just going to speak anything. I won't speak anything, I won't see anything, I won't hear anything. I'm tolerant. Come, say whatever you want to me. I'm not seeing anything, I'm not speaking anything, nor am I hearing anything. Do whatever you want. No, that's not called tolerant. That's never anything tolerant. But in spite of being in challenging situations, how we are able to control our minds at every step and trying to be better. We set our personal goals, trying to be better at every step. Because trust me, in family life, we are given by Krishna's mercy, these situations keep coming every time till we are able to perfect it. Our responses become perfect, Krishna will keep giving us these situations. So unless we really are able to go beyond it, we will keep getting these opportunities so that we can master these, challenges, right? So we will be given many, many opportunities, and perseverance, trying to, do it in a way that is going to be pleasing to Krishna. We'll get several chances to do that. So how do we do that? It is by the easiest way is our association. The more we associate with, books of Srila Prabhupada, the more we read Srila Prabhupada's books, the more we associate with devotees who are reading Srila Prabhupada's books and following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada in their day-to-day lives, Krishna Chaitanya, then we know that yes, it's the easiest way to really imbibe these teachings in our hearts. Like we can see when these personalities, these great sadhus, when they were praising Maharaj Prithu for his beautiful, transcendental, divine qualities, and Maharaj Prithu deserves it. He is the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he deserves it. He has those qualities. And he could have said, yeah, now you're recognizing my qualities. Yes, now all of you have been given Divya Drishti, Divya Chakshu. Now you're recognizing who I am. That's wonderful. Keep it up. Come tomorrow and praise me more. No, that was not how he was responding. His response was so much filled with humility that kept attracting everyone towards him. That is genuine humility. When we see these great personalities like Srila Prabhupada, or when we see our Guru Vargas, one time I remember Srila Jayapataka Maharaj, he was giving class. This is back in 2004 in Mayapur. I was there in the class at that time. And Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu, the transcendental twins in Mayapur, they were sitting right in front of the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Jayapataka Maharaj was giving the class. And Maharaj was reading from, Srimad Bhagavatam, and one of the points he was saying during that class was the aspect of being Nirmat Sarana, being non-envious. And Jayapataka Maharaj actually took the name of Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu, and he said that these are two saintly devotees who are so humble. Why? Because they are non-envious. And that's what is an attracting feature, that they really don't have anyone who is envious of the two brothers. Hardly you'll find any devotee who will be envious of these two brothers. Why? Because they're so genuinely humble. When they are genuinely humble, when we have genuine humility, then we will not be envious of anyone. And as a result of that, everyone will naturally be attracted. That is why we are attracted to Krishna. Because Krishna is so humble. Krishna is non-envious. That is why all living entities, we become like magnets towards Krishna, because he has these qualities in full. And such great personalities whom we see in front of our eyes, like, our Guru Vargas, Srila Prabhupada, they are manifesting these beautiful qualities of humility, of being gentle behaved, even if they are saying the truth, it's very palatable. Satyam vadat, priyam vadat, So, so they are teaching, like in the second verse we read today, that, how Srila Prabhupada is explaining that these saintly people, they are, describing Prithu Maharaj's divine qualities based on the fact that he is a direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here in the purport to the second verse, Srila Prabhupada is talking about Mayavadi philosophers and, what is Maya. So here, I was, just reminded of the fact that how we see Guru Sadhu Shastra, that if we base our life on this three-way check and balance system of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, that we don't do anything on our own. We always take, guidance from these three sources. If we are not able to get directly the association or the instructions from Guru, then at least from a representative of the Guru, if we can get some direction. From the sadhus, from the other devotees. And what does Shastra say? So when we have our life, which is molded according to these three aspects, the three-way check and balance system of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, we know that we are leading a very safe life. Then we can say, yes, it is Mahajana Yena Gatasva Pantha, that we are following the path that have been set down by the Mahajanas. And here, Srila Prabhupada is talking about Yogamaya, Mahamaya. What is the difference between Yogamaya and Mahamaya? Both of them are Maya. Both of their nature is to make us forget about Krishna. Maya means that which is not, right? So the nature of Yogamaya and of Mahamaya is that they make us forget about the supremacy of Sri Krishna. But there's a very wonderful difference between Yogamaya and Mahamaya. In Mahamaya, when we are in Mahamaya, you see, because there is the Supreme Lord has three Shaktis, right? There's Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. We are the marginal energy of Krishna. There's the internal energy of Krishna, which comprises of the pure devotees who are the eternal associates of Krishna. And the Bahiranga Shakti, which is the external energy of Krishna. So Tatastha means the marginal, which is the living entity. The living entity can either be in external energy or in internal energy. We can choose. Like we are like in the beach, So we can choose to be in the water or in the land. That's our choice. Krishna doesn't tell, no, come here. Or he doesn't say, oh, no, go there. You're external. No. Krishna has given us the free will where we would like to choose to be, whether internal or external. But what happens when we are in the external Shakti, in Mahamaya? When we are in Mahamaya, we forget Krishna. Yes, we forget Krishna. But we forget Krishna out of enviousness. We forget the supremacy of Krishna out of enviousness. In Antaranga Shakti, in Yogamaya, the devotees of the Supreme Lord, they also forget the supremacy of Krishna. But they forget the supremacy of Krishna out of love for Krishna. Out of pure love for Krishna. Like Mother Jashoda. Like Srimati Radharani. The Vraja Gopis. The Gopas. Nanda Baba. All of them forgot that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They said that Krishna is ours. He's our little Kanha. They forgot the supremacy of Krishna out of their pure love for Krishna. And we who are in the external energy of Krishna, in Mahamaya, there also we forget Krishna, but we forget him out of enviousness. That is the difference. So that's a very beautiful point that Srila Prabhupada brings out in the purport. Then Srila Prabhupada also mentions that, Maharaj Prithu, because in the second verse that we read today, the Brahmanas are saying, the sadhus are saying that although you have appeared through the body of King Vena, even great orators and speakers like Lord Brahma, they cannot describe the glorious activities of your lordship, Maharaj Prithu. So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining that although Prithu Maharaj appeared through the body of King Vena, who was a very evil king, he was a very, very evil king. But still, Maharaj Prithu came from such an evil personality. Same like from Hiranyakashipu, the great devotee Prahlad Maharaj appeared. So the point of the matter is that, when we say that Lord Nrsingadev appeared from the column, when Hiranyakashipu struck the column, Lord Nrsingadev manifested from the column. Now, is it that we think that the column is the source of Lord Nrsingadev? No. Lord Nrsingadev just chose to manifest through that column. Similarly, King Prithu, he chose to manifest through the body of King Vena. Similarly, just like how from evil we see that such divine personalities are born, we also see that from divinity, evil also can come. The history shows us that when Varahadev, when he came, and when Varahadev lifted Bhumi Devi with his tusks, it is said that Bhumi Devi was impregnated by the touch of Lord Varaha. And Bhumi Devi gave birth to a son named Bhauma. That was the son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Imagine that. He is the Krishna's son, Varahadev's son. Varahadev and Bhumi Devi. What celebrated parents he has. He is Bhauma. But because Bhauma started associating with Dvivida and with Banasura, he became Bhaumasura. He became a demon. Such a demon to such an extent that when Krishna came in Dwapar Yuga and Bhumi Devi appeared as a partial incarnation of Satyabhama, at that time, both these parents of Bhaumasura, it's said that Satyabhama Devi was a great chariot driver. So she drove the chariot of Krishna, and Krishna came to Bhaumasura's palace and killed Bhaumasura. That the Supreme Lord, he does not hesitate to kill his own son if he is demoniac. So from the divine couple, Varahadev and Bhumi Devi, came this evil personality who is Bhaumasura. So it's not that, it's not necessary that from good, only good will come, or from bad, only bad will come. That is what is proven here, that, anything can happen anywhere. It is not based on just your janma, but it is karma that defines who we are. It is our activities that define who we are. We may be born in lowest of the families, lowest of dynasties, but if we choose to surrender to Krishna, if we choose to take the mercy of Lord Chaitanya in our lives, we can become, by the mercy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, we can transcend our fallen condition. However, if we are even born in great Brahminical families, but if we are not engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, then what use is such high birth? So that is one very beautiful point that is stressed here by Srila Prabhupada. And then the third verse that we read today, or before we go into the third verse, I would like to share one very sweet story that, we see that it's so difficult, like we were saying, that who gets the, what proves, that what kind of activities we are doing and what kind of results we will get, right? So there's one time there was a king. He was a very, very charitable king. And this king was so charitable that every month he would give feasts to thousands of brahmanas. He would call brahmanas from all over, not only his kingdom, even from neighboring kingdoms. And he would, get his cook to cook very nice, palatable dishes. And he would feed the brahmanas, Brahmana Bhoj. He would do this service to the Vaishnavas and brahmanas. So one time what happened, this king had a wonderful palace, and his palace, there was, inside the palace, how it was in the previous ages, that they had this open air kitchen and the open courtyard where he would make all the brahmanas and the Vaishnavas, they would sit and they would, be served and they would all take prasad. So this cook, he was cooking and then he was keeping everything arranged in the courtyard, in big, big pots. He was keeping everything in the courtyard. And the courtyard was open air, so it was directly exposed to the sky above. When everything was ready, just the sweet was about to be served. Without the notice of anybody, there was an eagle who was flying above that palace, that courtyard. And he was carrying in its claws, the eagle was carrying in its claws a dead snake. A dead snake was being carried by the eagle. So when the dead snake was being carried by the eagle, when it was flying over the courtyard, the eagle must have just, clinched the snake some more, and some poison from the snake's mouth just dropped down, trickled down. The snake was spitting out some poison. Dead snake was spitting out the poison, and it fell directly in the pot of sweet rice without anybody noticing it. Nobody noticed it, but there was poison that dropped into the sweet rice. The eagle flew away, but that same sweet rice started to get served to all the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas. And then suddenly, everyone was throwing up, and they had snake poison, so they were all thinking, what happened? And somehow, some of the Vaishnavas died. They left their bodies, and it was a huge, then the king found out that this, poison was there in the sweet rice, and they immediately stopped serving that. And the others were sent in for treatment. So like this happened. This very unfortunate incident happened. And then everyone, started becoming very cautioned that, oh, this king, he's such a great devotee. He does so much of, charity. But now, who will come and take prasad? They're all going to be scared for their own lives. So there was this one old lady in the kingdom, and she, started propagating it. She used to carry and sell, clay pots. She would do that. So then she was doing that, and then some other devotees, when they were coming, she started propagating this, that, oh, this king, don't come to this kingdom. And if you've heard anything good about this king, then don't, come and believe that, because this king, he has killed so many people, like this she would go on saying. So this news came to Yamaloka because some people really left their body. So who does the karma go to? Chitragupta was a little confused. So he got confused and he came to Yamaraj, and Yamaraj said, So Chitragupta said, so Yamaraj, tell me, who should get the karma for killing these Vaishnavas? Should it be the king? Should it be that eagle? Should it be the cook? Or should it be the snake? Who should get the karma? So Yamaraj said, let a few days go. Let's see. Just keep this on hold. We'll balance it out later. Just keep it on hold. So then after a few days, this old lady, she started propagating more and more, like day by day, her propaganda started increasing. Like one day, it was only 1 or 2 people who died, but she started increasing the numbers. She started saying every day this happens. Whenever this king gives, feast like this happens. So then Yamaraj, who was personally keeping tab of what's happening in this kingdom, he called Chitragupta and said, all that karma, give it to this lady. What was she doing? She was not involved in the cooking. She was not involved in the feast. She was not involved in any way. All she was doing was negative propaganda. She was saying something which was not true about a saintly king. And she got that karma of Brahmahatya. Imagine. That entire karma of Brahmahatya came upon her, not upon that king. This is the law of karma, which is so stringent, and it will not see whether you were directly involved, whether you were indirectly involved, how you were. It is based on our motive, our intention, and it is based on our own outlook. So this lady was the one who was giving the negative propaganda out of enviousness towards the king. And that is the reason why Yamaraj decided that she should be the one getting the karma. So, the lesson that we can learn from this pastime, which is there in the Padma Purana, is that how dangerous it is to participate in any kind of criticism. Criticism of any kind is not safe. Whether we are criticizing, a new person who is not a devotee, or we are criticizing devotees, both are actually very dangerous for us. Because Srila Narottam Das Thakur says that whoever is not a devotee today, he may become a devotee tomorrow, and then tomorrow you will become guilty of Vaishnava Aparadh. Then where will we go? So we may say, oh no, that person is a karmi, he is not a devotee, or she is not a devotee, so I'm not guilty of Vaishnava Aparadh. Narottam Das Thakur says that you may be guilty of Vaishnava Aparadh because that person will become a devotee, then you will get the aparadh on yourself. So how dangerous criticizing anyone, making false propaganda, making negative propaganda about someone is very, very dangerous, and we must completely stay out of it. But Srila Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj says, Vaishnava Ninda or Paraninda Paracharcha. Paraninda Paracharcha means it doesn't have to do anything with even being a Vaishnava. Paraninda means to anybody. Just doing ninda means just criticizing someone. Maharaj says it's like achar. When we eat our meals, we like that little pickle, no? That pickle gives, so nice, so tasty. Otherwise Krishna consciousness is so bland. What is there? Krishna consciousness, nothing. But this Paraninda Paracharcha, oh, you know what that person did? Oh, come, I'll tell you. You don't know, no? Come to me. I'll tell you. And then we tell 10 times more. We will nicely put more and more and more addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, everything we will do and give it a totally different kind of a shape, and we'll share. That's not something nice to do. So that kind of achar, that kind of pickle, we must be careful that we are not going through that kind of pickle. That should not give us any kind of taste, in the persuasion of our spiritual life. We must be very, very careful. And of course, these saintly people, all of them are glorifying Prithu Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that it was not yet established. It did not become public knowledge yet that Prithu Maharaj is a direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But how did these sadhus, how and why did they then proclaim Prithu Maharaj to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Srila Prabhupada says that because they had the right source, they were dependent on safe parameters to identify God. What is safe parameters? SAFE. Safe parameters. Safe means, do the scriptures tell this? That's safe. If the scriptures are mentioning about this incarnation, then okay, we can say yes. We are accepting you as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A stands for astrology and attributes. Does the astrological, time of the appearance of this personality, does it match according to what the prediction is? Does it do proper justice? All that is mentioned in the scriptures. So astrological calculations, do they match to what this person has been born to? Then we know that it is okay to say that this person is supreme. F means following authorities. If our authority is saying that yes, this is the Supreme Lord, then we can believe that yes, this person is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And E stands for extraordinary activities. Then what are some of the extraordinary activities? If a person needs to be, categorized as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then they should be able to lift Govardhan Hill for 7 days and 7 nights on the pinky of their left hand. If they're able to do that, yes, then that is Krishna. If they're able to marry 16,108 queens, keep them all happy, make individual palaces for them and keep each and every one of them supremely happy, then yes, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prithu Maharaj, by his extraordinary activities, by the timing of his birth, by the following of the scriptures, by the established authorities, everyone claimed that yes, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is why these Brahmanas, these sages, they are glorifying Prithu Maharaj as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we see so many avatars, coming up nowadays, some people say that, this Kali Yuga is ending and Kalki is coming. He's going to be born in April, or some people are saying he's already born and he is, this is happening, that is happening. It's all, mental speculation. All of this is mental speculation. So we need to identify the Supreme Lord with safe parameters, SAFE, safe parameters. So that is something that we must always, always remember. And then, in the last verse, we also, Srila Prabhupada says that in the translation, we say Srila Prabhupada is writing that we are trying to glorify you according to the instructions received from authoritative sages and scholars. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that, yes, we may be very much experts, but we must rely on what our previous acharyas have already given to us as bona fide prayers. If we just, sing the bhajans that our previous acharyas have written, if we sing the prayers that, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, all of these great personalities, they've written all these beautiful bhajans. They're nothing but prayers. Then we are able to follow in the footsteps of our previous acharyas, because each and every one of these bhajans, these prayers, they have a certain pattern. What is that pattern? There's 3 aspects to a prayer that qualify any prayer to become bona fide. Is 3 aspects. Not that when we just go into the temple, we see the Supreme Lord and then we pull out our, demand list from the back pocket and then we say, oh, dhanam dehi, rupam dehi, dhanam dehi, yasham dehi, griham dehi, this dehi, that dehi, give me this, give me this, give me this. That's very selfish. The Lord is not He's not a shopkeeper sitting over there and giving us, yeah, okay, you give me this, I'll give you that. Or He's not our order fulfiller, That's not the relationship that we need to have with Krishna. So what is the, pattern of a prayer? What is the format of a prayer? Our acharyas have taught that first we must glorify the Supreme Lord. Or if the prayer is to the Guru, then we must first glorify the Guru. We must glorify the Vaishnava. First thing is glorify the personality. Second is submit to them as a fallen soul. Submit to them by saying how fallen I am. I'm really not qualified to even stand in front of you. I am so fallen. I have such, bad qualities that are in me, filled with anarthas. That is my fallen situation. And third, the conclusion should be that we are saying in Krishna, because I'm so fallen, my only solace is you. Please help me, Krishna. Please allow me to get rid of these anarthas, and please, give me pure love of Krishna. Bless me with pure love for Krishna. Bless me with service which will please the devotees. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, when we read the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see that in, the way Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami starts every chapter, the way he concludes every chapter is the same mood. He says that I am a dwarf and trying to do the unimaginable thing of trying to catch the moon. I know it's impossible. But I'm not qualified to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, but I'm just trying for my purification. I'm trying to say something under the orders of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. That is the mood of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So, serving such great personalities who have developed the taste for sadhana, for seva, and for prachar. These are the three things that enhance our Krishna consciousness, that allow us to progress in Krishna consciousness. Sadhana, seva, and prachar. Our personal, sadhana, seva, service to the devotees, service to the Supreme Lord, and prachar, trying to share Krishna consciousness to whatever extent possible. By serving those devotees who have these three qualities, by Mahat Sevaya, then we will be guaranteed that those qualities will also manifest in us. We will also be blessed with such qualities. So, when we are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we must pray. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is nothing but a prayer. We are telling, O Radhe, O Krishna, O Rama, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We're glorifying Krishna. Second, we are saying that I am drowning in an ocean of misery. That's the second part of a prayer, telling our fallen condition. I'm drowning in an ocean of misery. And third part is, please pick me up and engage me in your service, O Radhe. Please give me some taste in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. That is the prayer to the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, we must feel the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So please keep this thought. We will define what is feel. We all know it spells as F-E-E-L. So I will tell a small story in conclusion to today's session. and then we will tell what is the meaning of feel and how we should chant the holy name. So this pastime, this story is, there was a Buddhist monastery, you know. So there was this Buddhist monastery, and they have these, the monks who stay there, right? The monks are there who stay there in that, in their temples. And somehow, they were not getting many people new people were not coming to their temple anymore. They were seeing that the numbers were declining. So one of the other, temple's leader, another rabbi, he came to visit this temple. So there were only few leaders who were remaining in this temple, and no congregation was coming. So this visiting rabbi, the monk, he came and said, so what seems to be the problem? Why? Because they were all asking this visiting monk that, we used to have such a good congregation, but now nobody comes only. What do we do? Please tell us. Where did we go wrong? What happened to us? And what can we do so that people can start coming? So the visiting monk, the rabbi, he thought for a while, and he looked at the 4 or 5 leaders who were there. And he said, looking at all of them, he said, oh, there is a Masiha amongst one of you. Amongst you, there is a Masiha. Masiha means messenger of God. Yeah. So he said, oh, there is a Masiha amongst you. So then he just said that and he left. And these 4 or 5 leaders, they were shocked, So one of the leaders, who was the president, he was like, wow, I am definitely not that Masiha. I can't be, I always am spending, out of 24 hours, 25 hours I spend just by shouting at others. Oh, you're not doing this right. Oh, you're not doing this, do this properly, do this properly. That's what I do whole day. How can I be the, messenger of God? No, I'm not. Maybe it's that particular, leader. That leader, she is in charge of making all these, different, just taking care of the things in the background, making sure everything works. But she sometimes is very lazy, but she doesn't speak anything, doesn't retaliate. Maybe she is the messenger, Then that messenger, then that lady, one of the other leaders, she was thinking, man, I can't be the messenger of God. No way it's me. I'm such a lazy person, lazy bum I am. Maybe that temple president, maybe that person is, because look at the way the focus is, yes, he's always shouting at us. Yes, he's always, wonderfully, but he makes sure that things are getting done. At least that he's making sure. So like this, they started seeing each other as probable to be the messengers of God. And their attitude towards each of the other people started changing. And then because of that, they suddenly started noticing that people started coming in. And then within 7 to 8 months, they had a flourishing congregation. And again, they had their heads on their head, hands on their head, like, what did they do wrong the first time? And what did they do right the second time that people started coming? My God, we are really confused. They again called that other monk, the visiting monk. They said, look, we are very happy that the congregation is really flourishing, but please, resolve our, we are so much in a dilemma. Who is that messenger of God? Please tell us. Please tell us. Who? You said amongst 5 of us, one of us is the messenger of God. Tell us who it is, Otherwise, we don't want to be creating any offense to that person. No, tell us. So then that, that rabbi, the other monk, he was very happy. He was smiling to himself and he said, each and every one of you is the messenger of God. Each and every one of you is that Masiha, because I just showed you to treat each and every one of you as a messenger of God. And as soon as you had that change in attitude towards each other, you started treating each other with respect, with love, with trust. You started, reciprocating with each other. And that is what made, because of this love and trust that is there amongst all of you, that attitude started bringing new people in, started attracting the congregation. Because if the leadership is not united, if there's no love and trust amongst the leadership, then that will reflect on the congregation. So if there is love and trust, then there will be proper way of flourishing a congregation. So that brings us back to how can we bring the feel back to our chanting. F stands for foregoing, planning for the future. Foregoing, letting go. Don't plan for the future. E stands for embrace the present. Second E stands for enthusiasm while chanting our japa. And L stands for let go of the past. So when we are not contemplating on the future, when we are not, really thinking about the past, and when we are able to live in the present, then only enthusiastically we can chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So with this, second E stands for enthusiasm. Okay, so with this, we will conclude our session today. If there's any questions, comments, realizations, or reflections, we can take that now. Thank you very much. Srila
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna, Bappaji.
Hare Krishna.
Beautiful class as always. You yourself are so enthusiastic when you're talking that we can feel, whatever you're narrating, we can feel it, Mataji. Thank you so much for your association. Questions, devotees? Yeah, Vasudha Mataji and then Nandini Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam Mataji. As usual, no words. Your class is always, you will take us to directly, you will keep us in the lotus feet of the Lord Mataji. Really, thank you. Thank you so much. We are so blessed. And yesterday itself, I had a thought of one thing you told related to the, it is very difficult to overcome with family members, Mataji.
Yes.
So that's the law of karma story. It's really, nowadays, a few things so many places, Mataji, the things which we cannot open up to others. That is the state where the word famous, it became depression. They named it as depression. So today, that the story which you have shared with us, the law of karma, is really helpful to me and for everybody, Mataji. It's an amazing story you have shared. It has boosted my thoughts, Mataji, really. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Nandini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. As usual, very excellent class, Mataji. And you were talking about three aspects while going to temple or praying God. The first one is to glorify, and the second one is we have to feel how fallen we are. Then thirdly, we should ask help to the Lord. For me, my question is that to glorify the God, I am not what to say. I don't remember all those slokas or then. So how to glorify in that situation? I don't remember all those slokas.
Yes. You don't have to remember any shloka.
Okay.
You can just say, Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I take shelter of you, Krishna.
Okay.
If
In
you just
simple
say
terms,
that,
we can tell in simple words whatever we feel.
yes.
Thanks a lot, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishnamurti Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, in Kannada, ನಾವು ಈ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ.
ಯಾಕೆ ಪ್ರಭು?
ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ವಿಚಾರಗಳನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಇವತ್ತು. Every words you have told that were all touching, and then life lessons. Everything must be cultivated in our day-to-day affairs. In addition to that, Mataji, so you are blessed, Mataji. So you are making us like what we can't able to say anything else. So ಶಬ್ದಗಳು ಬಹುಶಃ words cannot explain all these things. So you are great personality. So just often and often if you come to our classes, definitely, as you have told in previous classes also, I asked you a question. Am I able to cross over this misery ocean? Yes, you told me that you have already crossed. Why you are worrying about that? So I am always remembering that. Oh, so I have already crossed. Though nothing. Only thing is I have to chant. I have to do chanting in Brahma Muhurta, hearing the classes, and be in polite in hearing the classes, be in Krishna consciousness. So that is making me always remembering. So beyond this, I don't know what to tell you. Sir, you are great, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Please come often and often. You make me a best and you get liberated. Oh, I am very grateful. I have no words, Mataji. This words itself is more. Sorry, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
No, thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. But whatever I'm speaking is just like a parrot repeating the words of the master. Just trying to repeat the words of Srila Prabhupada and our Guru Vargas. That's all. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Kripamayi Sita Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. Am I audible, Mataji? Wonderful
Yes.
session.
Yes, Mataji.
Very humble. Mataji, I want to know that first word F stands for Mataji.
It is foregoing. Foregoing means let go. Let go of any kind of future planning.
Let go of the future planning. Mataji, another thing I want, request you to kindly tell me how to become humble, Mataji. Whatever the thing was tips or tips to become humble, Mataji. However, we think, no, sometimes something coming, it's making us some disturbance and association also. Our children, my family members and all, they are not cooperating with me and all that. So I want to be more humble and more that Trinada Pisuni Jena Taravapita Amani Namana Kirtanaya Sadahari. Like that was I was to be thinking that how to become like that. No, we however thing we are making, no, it's not coming, Mataji. Give me some tips, Mataji, to become more humble, Mataji. Your speaking and your way of the teaching is very nice, Mataji. Please tell me, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
You're very kind. And your question shows your sincerity. So
thank you.
Whatever whatever you are liking in the way I may be speaking, it's got nothing to do with me. It is actually your sincerity that Krishna is reciprocating with. And the way we can really be humble and really implement this third verse of Sri Shikshashtakam that is given by Lord Chaitanya Lord Chaitanya himself has given the answer to this. He says 3 things: Jivadaya, Vaishnav Seva, and anybody else? Anyone can say what are the 3 things?
Sadhu
Namaruchi.
Sangha.
Sadhu. Namaruchi.
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 Yes. Namaruchi. Namaruchi, Jivadaya, and Vaishnav Seva.
Jivadaya,
So
Jivadaya.
Namaruchi, that is what we were talking about, is Namaruchi is sadhana. Okay, that is sadhana. Vaishnav Seva is seva. And Jivadaya is prachar. So sadhana, seva, prachar. These 3 things is the easiest way to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya so that we can do Kirtaniya Sadahari. The process is the goal, the ultimate goal of Krishna consciousness is also the process, basically. It's not that we have to do something else to achieve Krishna Prema. We have to practice Krishna Prema to get Krishna Prema. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. The more we chant sincerely, the more we are able to serve devotees with genuine humility, genuine service attitude, genuine selflessness. If we are able to serve the devotees, we're able to glorify devotees. If we are able to, please the devotees. And whatever little bit we know, Srila Prabhupada even told Saraswati, Saraswati was 5-year-old at that time. And when this same question was asked to Srila Prabhupada that, oh, Prabhupada, I don't know any verses, what am I going to preach? So Srila Prabhupada said, see this Saraswati? Srila Prabhupada with his Bengali accent for Saraswati, he said, Saraswati? You see Saraswati? Saraswati, who is Krishna? And little Saraswati got up and said, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada. And then Srila Prabhupada said, this is prachar. She is preaching. So preaching or sharing Krishna consciousness doesn't mean that we have to be, great Pandits or Bhakti Shastri or Bhakti Vaibhav or any of that. No. Whatever we know, Srila Prabhupada said, if we know 1%, share 1%, we will grow into 2%. That is the beauty of spiritual, life, that the more we give, the more we will get. In material life, if you have 100 rupees, you give out 100 rupees, you're left with 0. But in spiritual life, if you have 100 rupees, you give your 100 rupees, you will get 200 rupees. That is Krishna consciousness. That is spiritual life. So, therefore, sadhana, seva, and prachar. The more we fix ourselves in these 3 aspects practically, whatever we can do, then we develop more and more taste in chanting. The humility will be natural. We will be humble where we are supposed to be humble and in the proper way of being humble. Hope
Thank
this
you,
answers
Mataji.
your question, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Wonderful.
Krishna. Anita Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much for this wonderful class. Hope it's not late for you.
No, it's all right. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mataji. I always, when you take the class, you and Prabhuji, there is some so much of peace in your face. It means like it's a kind of effulgence, we can say. So, and it attracts us to not to deviate from any other to any other things around us. So, thank you so much, first of all, for that, Mataji. And yeah, so the question is like for the safe, you said, right, initially. Safe to be
Yes.
approach the Lord. So, can you repeat that abbreviation for that safe? SAFE.
Sure. S stands for scriptures.
Okay.
A stands for astrology and attributes. F stands for following authorities. E stands for extraordinary activities.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this, and very nice for your kathas also. Means like the examples you gave. And one thing is like Buddhist, they think how is their philosophy, Mataji? Because we say that the Lord has come as Buddha, right? He has took the avatar as Buddha also. But
Yes.
they do not believe in the scriptures, right? So they are a kind of Mayavadis, right?
Yes, well, there is a big history to this, and I think it won't be justified if I try to answer this question. But the short of this is it was a plan, it was a master plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, rather, I should say this, that what had happened is that in the name of following the scriptures, in that age, what it had come to is that in the name of following scriptures, people were doing unnecessary animal killing, and they were justifying it by saying that it is mentioned in the scriptures. So, therefore, Lord Buddha came first in this thing to break that cycle, to break that norm. So, therefore, it is said in the scriptures that Vedna Mania Buddha Hoilo Nashtik means Lord Buddha came and said, don't follow the Vedas. He just came and said that. He just slashed, that don't follow the Vedas. Then after that, Shankaracharya came. And slowly they revived Shankaracharya coming and saying about, preaching about slowly bringing back the scriptures, at least the Mayavadi aspect of it. And then, but he also said, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. He said that because Shankaracharya is none other than Lord Shiva himself. So first Lord Buddha, then Shankaracharya, then comes Madhvacharya, who brought in the Vaishnava philosophy, Before Madhvacharya is Ramanujacharya, then Madhvacharya. So like this entire circle was a master plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to make the people come back. The general society, you see, Krishna is such a person, he does not force anything upon anyone. Many people say, oh, he's the Supreme Lord, he can just, make things happen. Well, if he makes things happen, then what happened to the free will? We don't have any free will. So the Lord never interferes with our free will. So therefore, he wanted it to be very organic. What in that end of that yuga, how people were becoming, so fallen because in the name of following scriptures, they were doing abominable activities. Therefore, Buddha had to come saying, don't follow scriptures. Then slowly, and then finally when Lord Chaitanya came, he brought back what is Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva. So this was an entire master plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hope this answers your question.
Yes, Mataji, I got it in one sense. So what I was asking is like you said in that story that he came and he said that there is a messenger of the God. So they believe in that, or they think that they themselves they are God. But that is the philosophy of Shankaracharya, right? He said that you're God, I'm God, like that. But Buddhist, what philosophy they follow, Mataji? Then?
Buddhist people, they have, they say that, Aham Brahmasmi. They nowadays Buddhist philosophy is just, meditating on light. That's all they do, meditate on some kind of. So that is, Buddhism, basically, they preach non-violence. That's their main philosophy. So it's not, but they practice a lot of, meditational factors. They practice, nowadays Buddhist, monasteries, if you go into, they have these things called as, they worship Lord Buddha at least as God. They have these huge, if you go to Thailand, there's huge, Buddhist temples, in Thailand and Singapore, many places, so they worship Lord Buddha there. So they treat him to be God,
Yes, yes, Mataji. I have also seen, and they have this Prashadam counter also in their ways.
Yeah,
So,
they're very focused people. They're very focused people. They've
okay.
got very good virtues. They've got good tenets. It's all like that.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Actually, so many takeaways also, and I like that point you said that the humbleness, right? So we can be humble to outside, but inside the family, it doesn't come. It doesn't work out. So can you give some? I mean, one thing what I didn't realized is that I have to keep quiet. That's all. So whatever, but sometimes what happens is we argue. So, but then after that, it's only our mind which is getting restless after that. So instead, we can be quiet at that point of time. That's what I realized, Mataji. So,
Sometimes silence can be golden. Sometimes silence can be golden, and especially in our family, we know our family members to the best that anybody else knows. That sometimes, when the other person is very agitated, then the best course of action is to stay quiet, let the situation calm down, and then try to explain things. So that's personal take on different things.
but what happens is that is the opposite person is taking it as an advantage. That is the problem with the gene. So over and over when it happens, it agitates us. So can you just throw some light on this, like what we have to do in that situation when they take it as an advantage? Silence, we know that we have to be silent, okay, but the other person cannot think in that ways, right? So they think that silence is like we are keeping silent because I don't have that ability. Yeah, we are weak. They think that we are weak. So, but we do know that we are keeping silent. That okay, at least to protect myself.
See, the thing is that amongst family, in family, they say the saying goes that charity begins at home. Any home that has different centers, like the husband draws a center around him, the wife draws a center around him, the kids draw centers around themselves. And if there are elderly parents, then they draw centers around them. Then there will be clashes because there are so many centers. There will be clashes. But if the entire household can have one center, then however close those circles are, then they will never clash. You may be even on top of each other, but still you'll never have a clash. So it's very important to find that common center, and that common center can only be Krishna. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jedino grihe bhajano dekhi, grihete goloko bhai. A household that is worshipping Krishna is like Goloka Vrindavan. So, of course, if the situation is that maybe they may not be devotees, or maybe they are practicing devotees, or maybe they are not at our level of being a devotee, or, we are thinking that we are at some level, our family is at a different level, whatever the situation is. If we are truly able to have love and trust, again, love and trust is something which is not possible in material situations. I'll just conclude with this, that love, we may love our wives, we may love our spouses, but we may not be able to trust them with, maybe our car keys, or we love our kids, but we can't give them our car keys and we say, okay, I trust you, go and drive the car, if they're young kids, right? Similarly, we may trust our accountant. They know our bank details more than our spouses, right? But we not necessarily love our accountants, right? We trust them. So trust and love is not possible in mundane situations together to happen. It is possible only in spiritual situations, when we have Krishna in the center of our lives. Only then you can have love and trust together, because it's going through Krishna. So, given your situation, I do not know what you are going through, how your family is. So to say something on such a general way is going to be very difficult. But I'm available to speak to anyone. You may take my number from Narayani Mataji. And if you want, I can speak to you in person and try to hear you out.
Thank you, Mataji. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
That way I may be able to give, proper solutions. Otherwise, just generic speaking, it's not going to be possible.
Yeah, of course, I understand, Mataji. So it was just a general question, which I just realized that, okay, when we keep on arguing, there's no point. So just keeping quiet is a better solution for everything. So that's what I understood. So I just wanted to put up and hear from you, Mataji. Hari Bol. Sure, I will contact you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you for your time also and your patience with all our questions, that the stage that we are into. Hari Bol. Can we end the class, Mataji? Can we do prayers?
Thank you very much.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव
वृंद की जय श्रील
Srila
प्रभुपाद
Prabhupada
की
ki
जय
प्रभुपाद
jai.
की
Thank
जय
you,
नंदराज
Srimad
भागवत
Bhagavatam
की
ki
जय
jai.
भागवतम की
Thank you,
हरे
Mataji.
much,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to all devotees.
Mental
We'll end the
healing.
class, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank
Should I
you.
end the class, Mataji?
Thank you.
Should
Hare
I
Krishna.
end the class?